What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. In this one, I am going to be talking about how to quit porn forever. And I am going to be making some recommendations in this video that a lot of people are going to disagree with. So before we get into it, I want to make it very clear. I have made videos on how to go about conquering lust, about how to desexualize your brain. In this video specifically, I am addressing how to quit porn. And I am going to be recommending some extreme tactics. Tactics that I think a lot of men need to know, understand, and practice. But I'm probably going to get some heat for it, all right? And before we jump into things, I want to set the stage. I genuinely believe that both watching porn and masturbating are wrongful actions. And when you put them together, they are incredibly dangerous, incredibly harmful. But if I had to rank on a scale from 1 to 10, how bad I thought that the action of masturbating was, I would give it a 1 when compared to the action of watching porn and masturbating together, which I would give a 10. A 10 out of 10 is when you put those things together, but masturbating by itself, I would give it a 1. Now, some people are automatically going to disagree with me, and they're going to say, well, Brandon, I think that masturbation is still like a 5 or a 6, a 7, or an 8, or something along those lines. Regardless of what you think, one thing you have to understand is that when you add pornography into the mix, it becomes exponentially more degenerate. Not only because of the addiction intensity and the propensity for degeneracy, but also because of the fact that you're engaging with this entire industry that is based around destroying lives, that ultimately thrives off of other people's degeneracies. It's also going to result in so much more wasted time going down these rabbit holes, trying to explore these different degeneracies that you might not have even had before. Because what we've seen is that as time goes on and you watch more and more porn, it starts to become more intense. It starts to become more degenerate. You start to like worse and worse things. It just takes you further and further down this terrible path to nowhere. It's reprogramming your mind, causing you to look at your own life differently, causing you to look at your work differently, causing you to look at women differently. It is destroying your foundation as a man. I really believe that porn and masturbation have the ability to destroy a man. But masturbation by itself is a sin. It's a sin, but it's not going to absolutely destroy and crumble your entire life and destroy your entire way of thinking and undermine your entire existence as a man. All right? So I need you to understand that that is just simply what I believe, and I believe that scientific data supports that. I need you to understand behavioral psychology and addiction. Because when you try to pull somebody off of an incredibly hard drug, you don't just have them go cold turkey. That's not how it works, all right? You have to wean them off slowly. And porn is one of the most potent, dangerous drugs on the face of the earth, people. We are dealing with something so incredibly powerful, and 95% of men can't even escape its clutches. How can we break free of that? Should we just pray more? No, that's not the solution. We have to fight it with a very specific strategy in mind. We need to develop different strategies and tactics. And some different strategies and different tactics are going to work for different people, because different people have different ways of thinking. And so I understand that this might not work for everybody, but I think that this is the best technique for most people. And having worked with hundreds and hundreds of men closely when it comes to this side of things, and when it comes to getting in shape and mastering their nutrition, I have found this to be incredibly effective. All right? Now, what you need to understand is that if you are watching this video, it means that I'm probably making this video specifically for you, because automatically right off of the bat, I know that you are somebody that is more disciplined than the average person. You clicked on this video, it doesn't really have that flashy of a thumbnail. It's a longer video. You need to have a longer attention span in order to actually sit here and absorb what I'm saying. And if you've been watching my videos before, you'll know that every single video that I make, I try to give you methodical, habitual, and practical solutions to solving the problems in the lives of a man. And if you are somebody that operates this way, if you're somebody that's tracking with me, if you're somebody that's here, it means that I'm probably speaking to you. And maybe this won't work for just about everybody. Maybe the people that don't watch this video, maybe it's not going to work for them. But I'm not just going to sit here and tell you, you need to pray harder, brother. I personally can't stand that idea. That you just need to sit there and treat this problem that has never been seen in the face of human civilization, that we're just going to treat this problem with, oh yeah, you just need to like trust harder. You just need to believe more. No, I'm a Christian, and it really irritates me when I hear that type of advice being given out. The main strategy that I want you to use when it comes to quitting porn forever is divide and conquer. All right? The most powerful rule of strategy, because it understands that when things are separated, things become weaker. What I want you to do, if you are somebody who is in the clutches of pornography and you just cannot seem to escape, is to separate the porn from the masturbation. All right? It's like that scene from Spider-Man #3 when he's trying to tear off the black Spider-Man suit. The one that turns him into this terrible person that's giving into his urges, that's making all of these terrible mistakes. It makes you feel so good. It makes you feel so powerful sometimes. You remember that Spider-Man suit that he's wearing? Like, it makes him so much more powerful than he is in his normal Spider-Man suit. But at the same time, it has these negative consequences that play into the rest of his life. And you might be able to feel powerful, having access to being able to watch whatever you want to watch, engage with whatever you want to engage with, but it will ultimately be your undoing. All right? So you need to separate these two. How many times per week are you watching pornography? You have to ask yourself that question. And then what I want you to do is I want you to replace that frequency simply with masturbation. Simply replace it. And for some people, this is going to be a lot easier said than done. But here's the deal. When you are trying to get rid of one of the most intense drugs on the planet, it's going to be important to still be able to have some release and some sexual gratification while you are battling against this. All right? And what you are going to notice just by simply doing this, by simply making a habit out of masturbating alone and not watching porn, is that you will spend less time masturbating because you're not watching porn. You're not going down these rabbit holes of degeneracy. You're going to notice that your cravings start to become less degenerate, because no longer are you feeding into being able to watch whatever you want to watch and just giving into this mindless craving, this endless consumption. And you're also going to notice that you have less care for the act. As time goes on, you're going to notice that just simply by separating the porn from the masturbation, you are going to desexualize your brain. It is going to help with that. Because having access to all of the degeneracy that exists on the planet inside of your phone, it's going to leave things in your mind that were never there to begin with. It's going to show you things that you've never even thought of. And it's going to make you start to like things that you never even considered. All right? And something that I often compare this to is when I'm dieting, trying to get to a very, very low body fat percentage. I tell myself on the days where I feel absolutely terrible, where I'm like, dude, I feel like I am going to die. This is a life or death situation. I need more nutrients because my brain is not functioning. I can tell that I am in a state of malnutrition. On those days, I will give myself the ability to eat eggs. I have struck a deal with myself that if I am truly in a state of malnutrition, I can eat some eggs. Eggs are incredibly nutrient dense. And so I know that all of the nutrients that my body requires are in those eggs. But here's the deal. Eating eggs for me is not that much fun. I would much rather eat something that's higher in carbs, or I'd rather go eat a nice steak. I personally just don't really enjoy eating eggs that much, and it takes some time to cook them. It's kind of like a pain in the butt because I've got to get out the pan, I've got to crack the eggs, I've got to do all this stuff in order to ultimately save myself from dying. Because my body has convinced myself on those days where I'm trying to diet to a very low body fat percentage that it is indeed a life or death situation. And so I've told myself I can go over my calories for the day and I can replenish myself, but I have to eat the eggs. I can't go eat whatever I want. I can't go out and eat a bunch of carbs. I can't go out and eat a bunch of fruit. I can't go out and eat a bunch of sugar. I can't go out and eat a bunch of garbage. I have to eat eggs. And for me, that is boring. And so what ends up happening is because I have struck this deal with myself that I will do what I need to survive, most of the time I don't even end up eating the eggs. Most of the time, I don't even end up going over my calories for the day because I think, you know what, it's really not that big of a deal. I'm overreacting. I don't really feel like having to get the eggs out and cook them because I'm really not going to enjoy it that much. It's going to be like a net zero dopamine activity. I don't get a massive dopamine hit from eating these eggs. So what happens is I become not interested. I think, you know what? If the only thing that I'm allowed to eat is eggs, then I'm just not going to eat them. What this does is it outs my need as a craving. It exposes my own body and my own mind as lying to me. Because my body was telling me, we are dying. This is a life or death situation. You need to get more food or you are going to die. That's how it feels when you're really trying to cut hard. But I can see through the fog. I can see that I have an option. I have a way out to be able to give myself what my brain has told my body that it thinks that it needs, but I don't end up taking it. It shows that even in times where your body says this is a need, this is something that we have to have in order to survive, it's actually just a craving. And your mind and your body do an incredible job at disguising it. They do an incredible job at trying to convince you that you need it in order to survive, when in reality that's not the case. And so this goes back to the masturbation side of things. I have struck a deal with myself where I say, hey, you can go ahead and masturbate. You can go ahead and do it. That's okay. That is your only option. And what ends up happening is I don't even masturbate. Because I'm like, because I'm not allowed to watch porn. And porn, that drug, is what makes it so much more intense. It's what makes you want to do it so much more. It's what makes you want to do it for so much longer. Do you see how this is a step towards taking back control and overcoming addiction and getting some more power back in your life when it comes to controlling your brain and how it operates and how you think? Now, personally, I have used this exact strategy that I have shared with you guys. And I even know people, a random Joe, who has gone about weaning off of pornography even slower. He took the approach where instead of watching something, he actually would just listen for a while. And then he went from listening to just looking at pictures. And then he went from pictures to just using his imagination. And so he slowly toned back because he understood that trying to get rid of everything at the same time was going to be impossible. He tried it time and time and again. He couldn't do it. It wasn't going to work. If you want to try, you can try. But you have to understand that this method works. It helps so much because it creates a degenerate baseline that is higher than where you were at before. It reconstructs the baseline of degeneracy that you will return to when your body says, hey, I need fulfillment. I need satisfaction. I need this gratification. Now you've reconstructed your baseline. So when you are down bad or when you fall, you go back to a habit that you have established. A habit that is not optimal. It's not exactly where you want to be, but it is a habit that is so much less intense and so much better than the alternative. All right? The ultimate goal is to be free of it all. Lust, pornography, masturbation. But I've talked about in other videos how you're probably never going to be fully free of lust. Let's be honest here. You're going to be stuck in your body for the rest of your life, and your job is to learn how to tame it. You have to learn how to tame your desires, guys. And this all starts as a young man. And young men are exposed to pornography at such a young age. Their minds are being completely reshaped. They've been reshaped since they were 9 years old. You're going to have these strategies, these tactics in order to break free of this. And as time goes on, as the brain is desexualized, it becomes way easier to even get rid of the masturbation. And in fact, what you'll start to notice, I myself have noticed this, that you start to lose interest. Like masturbation, it just doesn't really grip you as much as it used to. It just doesn't. Because you're not tying it with this incredibly powerful drug. You're not combining the two drugs at the same exact time. All right, so you got to start using different strategies. Watching porn and jerking off, like those two things together, it's so much more of a cuck move than just masturbating in and of itself. And it's a whole lot more dangerous to do them both at the same time. And some people are going to watch this video and they're going to think, Brandon, you're trying to use your own power too much instead of just trusting God. And to that, I say, God gave us a brain. And God taught us that we can understand human behavior better. We can understand addiction better. We understand how these things work. Why would we not use them to our abilities, to the best of our abilities, to control this? This is how humans work. This is how we work. And as we start to understand more how we work, we start to understand more how God works, because we're made in His image. All right? So if you guys need more help with this, I encourage you to check out my channel and hit the playlist button, where there's a lust-conquering playlist of all the videos that I've made on this subject. This is just one piece of the puzzle. So go watch those other videos. And if you're interested in working with me one-on-one to help you get in shape, to help you build this discipline and this consistency, and even have a community of men who talk about these types of things, who have Bible studies, men who get together and actually commune and are able to ultimately encourage each other while they are trying to become better versions of themselves, while undergoing my one-on-one mentorship. You can feel free to apply for coaching down in the description and in the pinned comment section below. I truly believe that I talk about these men's issues better than anybody else on this platform, because I've been talking about it for years now, but also I'm not scared to touch on these topics. I'm not scared to talk about these things. Like, a lot of people just simply aren't going to speak about this, because it is a dark struggle that a lot of men have. And a lot of people don't want to talk about this type of stuff publicly. But I'm not scared. And I've been doing it for a long time, and I really, really hope that it helps some of you guys out. If this video just helps one person break free of pornography and helps them desexualize their brain, that is a massive win for me. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed. Drop a singular thumbs up in the comment section if you watched all the way through this video till the end. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.